Good morning, good morning, good morning, and thank you. Welcome to the Women's Mic by ACWA. My name is Jamilah Mahmud Hassan, and on today's program with me, we have lovely ACWA members, and I'll let them introduce themselves. Yes, and on my left, yes.
Hi there, I'm Gozi and I'm the Social Welfare Officer for the African and Caribbean Women's Association. Very pleased to be here.
Thank you.
Hiya, I am Nkem Aboa, a member of the ACWA.
Hello everyone, I'm Olive and I'm also a member of ACWA.
All right, lovely. Thank you so much, ladies, for coming on today's program. And on today's program, we will be talking about social media. This topic was, we talked about coming here today, and we talked about having social media as a discussion theme. And we chose a topic, the good, the bad, social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And as you know, social media is something that touches our lives in different ways. We're all women, we're mothers, and we know to what extent social media is like a new normal for us. So I'll be talking about the good, right? Let's start with the good first, Gozi. On a positive note, first of all, social media, right? You've got different platforms, different location that people go to have different discussions. That is termed a social medium, you know. For you, Gozi, this question goes to you first. What does social media means to you as a person, personally?
Well, that's a small question. What does social media mean to me personally as a person? Well, I think you're right, Jamila, insofar as social media and digital is very much the air that we breathe. It's kind of unavoidable to a large extent. And for me personally, I see my use of social media as an extension of my close and not so close networks, family, friends. I like to think that I'm considerate enough to see social media a little bit like different kind of front rooms in my house or community halls. So I'm conscious that there's certain areas where I feel more comfortable in certain senses compared to others. And I think that a lot of people probably feel the same in that respect. I mean, for instance, I use Facebook very much for my global family. I've got lots of family still in Nigeria and in Spain and in America. So social media is absolutely fantastic for catching real time growing up of the young ones. My kids have got their own social media networks with their global family as well, some of which they've never met actually in the flesh, but they are connected as family members and as people that won't walk past each other in the street if they were walking down Sucky Hall Street. So on a personal level, you know, I'm quite comfortable with social media. There's certain aspects of social media I will not touch. And then there's others that I do embrace. But I do recognise that some people are still quite apprehensive. You know, I think that's quite interesting because it's unavoidable in so many ways. And I find that quite interesting. But it's also about choice.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
And Kim, do you agree with that? It's unavoidable, like Gozi just said, right? What does it mean to you when they say social media?
I actually agree with what Gozi said because growing up, while in secondary school, there was this thing we used to have when you're leaving high school. We call it slum book. You know, it was where everyone had to write their details, write their home address. Then phone was not really a thing then, you know, and after the graduation, everyone goes their different ways. That's more than 20 years ago. But social media has helped to reconnect each and every one of us, you know. So social media, it's a global village where people have real connections. People have actually developed great networks. People have actually improved themselves, met individuals that on a norm they wouldn't have seen, you know. So social media has really helped. For instance, one of my very good friend in high school, I was not in contact with her for a very long time. And just recently, I came across her friend request on Facebook. I was super excited and was sharing things we did while in high school. So it's something that it's unavoidable, So we can't overemphasize the need for social media. And irrespective of people's views about it, it's something everyone needs to embrace, because not just about connection is the life people are living just now, so that's the way I say it. Thank you.
Olive,
Yeah.
and Kem just said it's the new normal.
Mm-hmm.
Is social media your new normal now?
Well, to some extent it is. It's unavoidable, as we have said, especially for our own generation. Maybe the older generation, they would not really care so much about social media. But for us, this generation and our kids, they definitely were all connected. And one thing I like about social media is the connection that it brings. As you said, for people that you have not seen for since you finished high school, if not for social media, I won't even know where some people are in the world. I would just be daydreaming or, just wondering, is this person still alive, or what's happening? What are they doing now? And the same goes for them as well. But the connection that social media brought makes life so easy. You can just connect with people, speak with people, and know what's going on in faraway places, see real time, happenings, the social life and all of that. I absolutely love it. So I love social media, but I do have my, caution about it, but I do like social media a lot. Yeah.
Okay, there's something you said about social media creating opportunities and also helping people or bringing people who in their wildest dream they would never imagine their path would cross. Do you think it's a tool that has created opportunity, employment, growth, development, especially for people who have finally embraced the social media? Because Gozi said something, that there's still some people who are scared, who do not want to have anything to do with social media for reasons like maybe they don't know how it works. They're just afraid to put their private lives outside. So do you think it has really exposed a lot of opportunities to people and also enhanced friendship, development, and different aspects? Do you think?
Absolutely. For instance, LinkedIn, there are lots of connections where lots of professionals on LinkedIn. You can be here in the UK and you have a highly profiled person in the US that if you've put in work, maybe your different posts, and they see what you're doing, they can actually trust you from the US to deliver what you claim you can do. You see people being friends with high profile men that on a normal day you need serious connection to get in contact with them. Just as I said, algorithm will always bring what you are interested in. So if there is a high profile person who is interested in tech or education and your post is always about that, algorithm has a way to bring it to the person's doorstep. And you don't even have to pitch yourself. Your posts have actually pitched you, and you see them reaching out to you. These are some of these opportunities it has provided. Recently, I was going through Twitter, and one woman was saying how she makes meal for her husband every day, And you see people were like, in this recent time where women don't care anymore and all that, she gained a lot of followers and people. Now she has a brand. She now gets money to advertise for people. She just made that post just on her own, but because those who agree with what she's doing, she was able to attract them. So there are so many opportunities. People have even gotten scholarship opportunities, through social media posts. You see people get in touch, like they are able to explore different opportunities. You see people that can't even sponsor themselves in education, they are able to see opportunities that can help them to live out their dreams. So I actually agree with that.
So, living out your dreams. Gozi, I want to talk about, from what Nkem just said, now I want to talk about social media and the underrepresented voices.
Yeah.
Do you think that social media has played a pivotal role to help people who are somewhat underprivileged or underrepresented to the fore? Would you agree to social media being a catalyst for that?
I think it's been a vehicle, definitely. I think that one of the strong benefits of being able to access social media and the communities of interest on social media is that you can find, like Kim said, you can find and connect, with those other like-minded and those other driven by similar passions or facing similar barriers or having similar lived experience, etc., etc. So it has lent itself to be able to do that. I suppose the flip side of the coin really is digital inclusion, and you touched on it as well, Jamilah, insofar as some people fear social media or can't access, or accessibility at a fundamental level, be it through poverty, not having or being able to afford devices, be it through living in rural areas and having really poor connectivity. Those kind of digital inclusion barriers, they are actually amplified on social media because it creates a two-tier, really, for those who are able to connect with those different communities and support and put their collective action behind different movements. It separates those that can and cannot. So that's why, it is of interest to me, that interface there between the inclusion, who's jumping in and who's not. And, social media, it's like, I use the analogy of like a living room or a community centre. It kind of is that in a sense, in a digital sense. And we need to be mindful of that. And what happens in those spaces isn't always brilliant. Like the school playground as well, and social media can have an element of school playground. So, we do need to be mindful and conscious, sentient beings, but also know how to be able to protect ourselves in that digital environment and navigate it so we are finding like-minded. And when you're from a marginalised community, your mindset is in a certain way as it is. So the resilience aspect is really, really key.
Resilience, yes. I completely agree with you, Gozi. I completely agree with you, especially talking about access and also opportunities. Olive.
Yeah.
If, say for example, if you were to pitch an idea, or if you were to look for an idea, information, education, opportunity, and information, would you go to social media?
Yes, I do it all the time.
Say, for example, what access? I know Nkem mentioned LinkedIn, for example, and the algorithm of LinkedIn would bring something right to your doorstep. What is the go-to for you, especially when it comes to information and education?
It depends on exactly what I'm looking for, but like LinkedIn is a professional social media platform. So if you are looking for professional connections, maybe looking for a job or a work opportunity, obviously you go there. If I am looking for information regarding maybe something that I am dealing with or I'm interested in, I can easily go on to social media platforms like YouTube and search for people who are actually giving information on that subject, or who are having conversations on that particular subject. And there are lots and lots of people who do it. And I observe now that, in fact, Instagram is one of the go-to places for all kinds of information, because people share. And these social media platforms, they have evolved a lot since they first came to where they are now. Because previously, when we had this platform, it was mostly people just sharing pictures, just doing social stuff. But since it became monetized, because those are the business opportunities that people have now. People have become millionaires on Facebook, on Instagram, and other platforms. It has opened up so much opportunities. So people feel really confident to come out and share a lot of things, even concerning their own personal struggles, their personal life, business ideas, relationship talks, and cancel. And I mean, like, you can virtually find anything on social media. If you want to learn to cook a meal, you don't know how to cook, you can just find a video on YouTube. It will give you step by step. And these channels, they have millions and millions of views. And these people are cashing in on that opportunity for themselves, and also helping, their audience to also learn new skills and things like that. So social media in terms of opportunities is just enormous. But you just have to find, if it is an opportunity you want to make use of, you have to find your own niche. Find the thing that you can connect with others with, something that that I can give to people, and people will connect and appreciate it. Like, if you're on a fitness journey, like, you don't even need to go to the gym. You just go on YouTube or on Insta or on TikTok. The other day I was on TikTok for like 30 minutes just doing exercise right in my living room, and I was like, I don't need to pay the gym. I can just do it. And they show you everything you need to do. They give you your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, what you need to eat in order to stay healthy. And I mean, like, look, I am enjoying social media. I don't know for others, but I absolutely love social media. So that's it for me.
You've touched on the point I was going to come to, which is the lucrative aspect of social media. People have made millions of it. People have made, depending on your niche, your unique selling point, and where you want to tilt your business to. Do you think social media is, let's come to monetization now, because the monetization is what is driving the growth for many people. Do you think it's like a cash crop? Like, am I sleeping if I'm not on social media? Would you say, I'm going to say, you're going to answer this question. Do you think I'm sleeping if I'm not on social media today? If I'm not cashing in, if I'm not making food, like Olive said, if I'm not giving healthy tips or showing the latest dance move, and, do you think today you're sleeping?
Yeah. I think so, and I know so. Personally, I'm someone who is always very careful about sharing things about myself. It's something I am trying to work on, because when you look at what is going on social media, you see that people are really making money. There's this particular influencer I follow. I followed her when I started following her right from the lockdown. That was in year 2020. I was one of our first 50 followers. Now she's in 10 million followers. Whoa. She's here in the UK. She's buying houses everywhere. And what does she do? She just makes her child's hair. She just shows us everything, like what she wants to show us anyway. So you see someone, I'm enjoying the content, but you see, it's something that, just as you act, if someone is not cashing out on social media, the person is missing a lot, especially now that there are different AI apps that, even if you don't want them to see your face, even if you want to do faceless content, nameless content, it's something that social media has, just like Olive said, it has evolved. It has evolved and had created a lot of opportunities. So there are different niche people can actually explore that can improve their income. Even doing your 9-to-5 job or doing your business, it's something that one can, those days you can just have your own shop, where people just come to buy and sell. But now many people don't even need a physical shop, because when you go on TikTok, go on TikTok Live, and you see people making a lot of money through that means. And it could be a content as simple as just sharing your cooking. You mustn't be perfect.
No.
You know, there's this another influencer. This girl, it's not even as if she's fluent in English. She just shows her everyday cooking, you know, with just gas and
Basic.
you know, the pot is not even a modern pot, you know, and yet the comment will be saying, oh, you're cooking rubbish, you're doing this, but the more the comments, the more money she's getting, you know. So I have come to understand that one mustn't be perfect, you know. So it's something personally I'm trying to, someone that is like, I want everything to just be perfect, but you don't have to be perfect to get started. Many have actually learned why doing that, and you improve over time. You attract the audience that believes in you. So even the negative comments also add value to what you're doing.
Human story. Yeah.
You know, so with time, you the person is able to build genuine fans and all that. You know, monetization on social media is the new oil. Is the new way. And I'm very glad that young people are leveraging on this. You know, like one of my previous is saying that, I want to be like Aisha Speed, that it goes live, it does gaming and all that. Look at someone in S4 having such a dream and he's growing. Before he leaves high school, he would really be making genuine money, legit money, while doing what he loves doing and also entertaining people. So it is something people should look into. People like me should look into. Thank you.
Gozi. Yeah. Nkem just said that social media, the monetization, going digital is something that she would want to consider. Let me come to you, Gozi, and I'm going to take from my mother's recent comment about social media. My mom says that social media has somewhat cured her isolation.
Yeah.
So I would like you to talk about the digital inclusion and also how it has helped, like the demographic of my mother's age.
Yeah.
You know, like the women who belong, you know, in senior citizens, if I can put it that way. So would you say social media, like my mom would say, social media has taken her out of boredom. She doesn't feel isolated anymore. So even when everybody's away to work, she's at home, she goes on, you know, social media. My mom has got her Instagram and all of Facebook and all that. So do you agree with my mother that social media is a tool that would lift people out of isolation as well?
Potentially, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, the impact can be quite transformational, you know, Jamilah, just like your mum. To be able to have that from zero to something of a level of connectedness with a community is one of the, you know, the major solutions to like isolation, depression and various other mental health issues that, you know, are not only our older populations suffer, but right across our populations. And I think, you know, we need to get away from that myth that older people can't manage with the tech. Actually, you know, it's like we're the older ones that are struggling with the tech, because the generations below us, you know, these guys have been born in tech in a way that is very different to our understanding. But our parents, your parents, our parents' level of generation have got the potential to be able to find value in using, you know, various social media outlets. And I think so long as we, you know, in across the voluntary movement and across our community groups, are mindful of not making those assumptions about older people and being able to reach out, get someone connected with a simple device that can give them access to WhatsApp and a Zoom link, for instance. It's not a replacement, but it's an addition. And for some people, it can be such an important addition that, you know, and I've seen that on so many occasions. I've seen how it's transformed, and I've seen the frustration that comes when people can't access that. And that's, that's that bit of the digital inclusion jump that we're keen for everybody to at least have the choice to be able to do that, whether they're able, willing, and it's there where, the kind of social aspect has probably got more room for development and capacity. In terms of monetizing, I mean, a couple of things with social media. It is a vehicle. It's a vehicle. It's a global vehicle, and it's developed a whole range of different money-making models, like influencing, for instance, that can catch on and make people really rich. Personally speaking, I think that, that is one aspect of social media. I think, unfortunately, the guys that run the very few social media platforms are some of the richest in the world, and we need to be mindful of that inequity. But I still feel that, as a vehicle, as a global vehicle, it's understandable it's going to have a potential to be monetized, but let's also make sure that those social elements are parts that still continue to evolve and develop as the whole different platforms do.
Yeah, I completely agree, Gozi. Yeah, I do. So now let's dig deeper, right? Let's talk about the bad of social media. And Ken mentioned something, and she talked about the act of wanting to be perfect, Olive.
Yeah.
Right? She talked about the act of wanting to be perfect, and Gozi also mentioned influence.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think, right, the act of wanting to be perfect, there's a downside to that?
Yes.
Because she mentioned something like she had to speak to herself to say, look, you don't need to be perfect.
Yeah.
But there are people who would not give that second thought to say, I don't need to be perfect. But there are people who really want to be perfect.
Certainly, yeah.
So do you think social media has driven people to that perfection, and that they may not get?
Yeah.
Or they may miss at the end of the day? Or, to some extent, do you think that social media is not a place to be perfect?
Well, it actually depends on what you are doing there, what you go there to do. Because before you put yourself out there, you have to really think about, why am I going there? In as much as I know a lot of benefits and I enjoy a lot of benefits by connecting on social media, but I am not there like doing business or putting myself out there to get any economic benefits from it. I'm just there to learn, to connect, right, in a way that I feel comfortable to do. Because you have to be mindful of the fact that when you are there and you are on a global audience, or as much audience that you can reach out to, people are going to form opinions about you. People are going to come back and say things. People are going to give you feedback. They are going to have comments. And just like as she said, some of the comments are not nice comments. They might be ugly comments, but it also drives your reach, your algorithm and all of that, your connectivity, which can give you financial benefits, but you have to also think about the other things that it brings your way. Because like doing regular life, you are walking on the road, and no one you don't know can just come and say things to you. It's very rare or odd. But when you put yourself out there on social media, people are going to say things, whether you like it or not, because it's just an open space. So maybe if you are doing a cooking show or a cooking video and your pots don't look nice, your kitchen does not look clean, people are going to say something. Or if you are out there showing off yourself, or maybe trying to do some fashion or something, some kind of video out there, people are going to comment on your fashion, your body image, and you cannot stop that. So these are things that you have to be mindful of. If you know that you don't have the thick skin to take it don't put yourself out there in that way, because whatever you give, something is going to come back. It's a two-way street. And I have seen over the years, I know a lot of people who used to be on social media who use it for business or something. They are no more there. And if you have the chance to talk to them, they will tell you a lot of reasons why they stopped putting themselves out there. Because sometimes, or a lot of times, it doesn't just stop on social media. It comes into real life. I know people who met themselves on social media and they ended up having a fight, right? Or in real life. So you have to be mindful of what is coming back from what you put out there. So for me, I'm not there for business, but that can change at any time. But I have to really sit down and think, what am I putting out there and what to expect? And if I know that I cannot handle what will come back, I would just rather sit there where I am and, connect and enjoy the benefits that I know I can enjoy without having to take what comes back that is not so much, of a benefit, that will not be of a benefit to me. That's the way I see it.
Wow. Yeah. And Ken, let's talk influence, social media. Let's talk influence, and let's talk about, because Olive mentioned a little bit about that as well, like the influence of what you see on social media. So I want to harp on that. You're a mom, right? And sometimes we see trends trickling into what we do as a family, as a mom. You see the trends of what's going on social media. Do you think social media has propagated influences into the things that we do, either as a family or as a mom or as children? Because another thing is, you find, like you mentioned I Show Speed. I know that chap, and I know how much he's done in terms of influencing young people to watch him. He goes live everywhere he goes, and I think he travels around the world, or he goes everywhere he wants to go with a live camera, people filming him, and it's his life. So, and I know a lot of young people admire what he does. Do you think every influencer should become a role model in a way? Should we say, oh, he's doing well on social media? Or let me word it this way. Is the life on social media real? Is it real? Let me just forget about the influence. Is the life on social media real? Because sometimes you subscribe to what somebody's doing, but you're like, it's like a tongue in a cheek. You're not sure, Should we take somebody the way they are on social media, or should we just say, no?
Okay, thank you, Jamilah. There was something Olive mentioned, that people go into social media for whatever they want to go into that for. So it's a two-way thing. For some people, it could be their real lives. For some people, it could just be what they want you to see because of the money, But the question is, how is whatever they are doing, how is it affecting the lives of people watching them? There are some people that have painted very beautiful relationships. Even once they switch off the camera, they become
it's a boxing ring.
Else.
It's a fighting ring.
And you will see someone whose partner is trying, that's in real life, but because the person they admire is painting a very perfect relationship, they might want to start judging or expecting such level of perfection from their partner. There was a case of a celebrity whose marriage, they got divorced, and in the comment section somebody was like, oh, my role model, what's happening to marriages like this? I've always, and someone was like, go and watch your parents. But the truth of the matter is, people really get over time, if you feed yourself with some certain content, if you're not careful, you start thinking like them.
Yes.
You start behaving like them unconsciously. Whereas those people, for some fraction of people, might be doing that just because they know this is what you like. And after that, they go back to their normal lives. So I am a mom and I am also a teacher. I've worked with young people. Young people are not matured enough to understand or to differentiate between social media influencers' lives and real lives.
Some adults as well.
Yes, some adults, but I'm using a young people from the young people's perspective. You know, once a trend comes, you see them, they are the one that makes it go viral. You know, if even something that is not worth it, even something that could endanger their lives, but because it's a TikTok viral trend, they want to belong. They are in that position where if they don't do what is trending, they feel less of themselves. They feel they have low self-esteem. You know, so it has to do with level of maturity. So level of maturity will help you to differentiate someone's life on social media and someone's life in like someone's real life. You understand? So, but if one keep consuming a particular content, unconsciously you start living that, because even algorithm wouldn't even help you. It will keep bringing related stuff to you, you know. So you find yourself feeding on those things, and you might just see yourself living out somebody else's life and maybe expecting perfection from yourself, or getting depressed because you think, oh, this person, look at this person's life. This person is just 40 and I am 42 and I don't even have all these things this person is. But a lot of studies have shown that many people can just borrow cars just to show that they have, but you even have a perfect life than them. You know, so social media has really, really influenced people, and it has actually transcended from just being a virtual life and has crept into people's real life and have started influencing what they do, how they think, and even how their mood, you know, their daily life. So that's the way I see it.
Gozi, Nkem just brought it down by talking about, you know, in a way, talking about harmful content, taking in harmful content. How do we deal with this?
Oof. Well, I mean, I think one of the biggest downsides with social media is the lack of regulation. You know, you'd made a really valid point about just the level of maturity that kids are at and being in the social media landscape. There's obviously a lot of focus on that at the moment. Australia has passed a law banning for under 16s.
Scotland
and we're talking about it in the UK as well. Now, social media is the air we breathe, but you know, if without regulation and policing, and one of the reasons that it has become so monetized is because it's making 3 or 4 or 5 guys a heck of a lot of money to do it. If you remember Facebook 20 years ago, or even before that, when it was Friends Reunited.
It was, Yahoo Messengers and
if you remember
Friends,
then, it literally was like
another one
platform for people. But now, all of the platforms are flooded with ads. You don't get, the algorithm just gives ad after ad after ad after ad, and that monetization is problematic. You know, so that's not policed to an extent. Being able to have safe environments for vulnerable young children or vulnerable adults, indeed, it's not a place that is easy to navigate in that respect. So that's what I mean. Regulation in terms of, I mean, well, we also have where artificial intelligence, where AI is taking AI is taking social media, which is the biggest jump, digital jump of ever, really. The fact that it is so unregulated is problematic, and we're not doing it enough at a UK level. The EU has got an EU AI Act that does put some legal accountability on businesses and how they regulate and embed AI into different systems. And that has big implications for things like safe environments, for access to underage teens. We need more kind of we need more approaches that give those stops and checks, that mean that parents and teachers, you know, are confident, because banning devices in schools, for instance, for me is almost pointless, because all you're doing is parking all of that until after they get out of school. It's not like social media stops at the school door, and it doesn't stop on your phone either, because it goes into your head. You internalize it in a good, a bad, or an ugly way. It becomes part of you, especially if you are in this, networks of, young kids, or like quite influential groups of people that are influenced by what is on social media. It can become quite intensive about how you grasp that and then churn that out as a human being. So stops and checks, would be useful.
Yeah, stops and check. I agree with that as well. Olive, can I come to you? Gozi is saying stops and check, right? Putting modalities in the way so that these things do not harm the community. But there's also the issue of misinformation, Olive. Misinformation has, taken people to where they don't want to find themselves.
Yes.
Sometimes we deal with it. Sometimes it makes a mess of a situation because of not really doing the due diligence of finding fact.
Yeah.
But even though we know the truth is there, but the lies sells as well.
Of course.
We've seen this play out in politics, in different facets of life, on virtually. So do you think that there should be a way to curb misinformation, especially on social media, and especially for the people consuming it, people like my mom, who hasn't been able to grasp AI? My mom will send me a video, clearly an AI video, but she believes it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So how do we deal with things like this? How do we tell my mom that this person is not dead? Oh, they said somebody's dead. Oh, things like that. And she would take it.
Yeah.
So how do we curb misinformation? Because it's done a lot of harm.
Yes.
We've seen what's going on in America with Donald Trump, for example. We've seen, different politicians. We've seen kids.
Yes.
We've seen, different aspects of where social media. So how do we, what do you think?
Yeah. This I had a very personal experience just about 3 days ago. I was on Facebook and I saw a press release officially signed by a supposed political party, giving information that one of their former leaders had passed. I saw it and I believed it. And I shared it on WhatsApp to a few people who I know. And I started getting feedback that, it's not true. I doubt whether it's true. That was when my senses now kicked in that, maybe it might be a lie. But when I first saw it, it looked so real. And if you see it, you will believe it. So I did not have any reason to doubt, because this individual is an elderly person. And we have had rumors that he has been sick, he was going for medical treatment and all of that. But it turned out in the end that it was a hoax. It was political opponents who were the drivers of that announcement. Whatever it is that they were trying to achieve, I don't know. But social media has so much fakeness in it that you have to be careful. Just this morning on my way here, somebody sent me a message on WhatsApp saying, so it was your birthday yesterday and you hid it from me. I said, no, it wasn't my birthday yesterday. Right? That's not my birthday. But I saw it on Facebook. I said, no. If you saw that on Facebook, that's not true. Don't believe that. So social media, for me, as Gonzi was saying about the stops and checks and the regulation and the things that United Kingdom is trying to bring in, laws and rules. For me, I want social media to only be for people who are 18 and above. And there is a very good reason for that, because some of the things that flow through social media is definitely not for kids and is uncontrollable. I have gone on Facebook one morning because I have this habit of always checking my Facebook in the morning before I leave home, just to see what has been updated overnight and all of that. And what I saw right? That, the immoral content that came through my Facebook. I just wonder if a child had seen that, the impact or the effect that would have had on them. Although Facebook will tell you that, okay, you can block or you can report and whatever, but it shouldn't come into my space in the first place because I did not ask for it. I didn't,
true.
I don't follow such platforms. I have never tried to access that sort of thing. It's too immoral in nature for me. Maybe for other people it's okay, but that's not the kind of content that I want to engage with or I even want to see on my Facebook. So for me, because of all this lack of control of the flow, I believe that social media should be only for adults. It should be for people who are 18 and above because they can be able to process some things or think outside the box. But children, if your child is locked up in the room with their phone, which they all have, they have the devices which we give to them so that they can at least have something to, connect with and relate with. You don't know what they are looking at. No matter how much you try to control it, you just don't know what they are looking at. And there are very, very dangerous people on social media. I've seen dangerous things, but thank God I'm an adult. I can be able to fish it out. And when I go to social media, I know exactly what I am looking for. But for children, anything can influence them. But because I have grown up as an adult, I know my own values, I know the things that interest me and matter to me. If I see something that I know is trending or whatever, maybe I can laugh or I can just, forgo it. But a child might get hooked up on that, and that might lead to something that nobody else can control. So there must definitely be control and regulation on social media. I would advocate that social media should only be for adults, not for kids.
I agree because even for me as a mom, there are many times I've confiscated phones from my children. As I speak to you now, my son's phone is with me. He's hidden somewhere in the room. He doesn't know. He's not had his phone for the past 1 week now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's not had his phone. But he has access to his tablet.
Mm-hmm.
He has access to the computer. He can do all the work he wants to do. He's meant to be writing exams, so I've taken phone off him. So that's my only way of regulating whatever it is you watch.
Yeah.
At least I'll take it away from you for 1 week. Then his room door should be opened. Yeah, so that I can see from afar whoever's walking past. Either dad is walking past, I'm walking past, or his sister. At least let somebody just see.
Yeah.
And not give him that opportunity of secrecy or, nobody's here so I can do anything. So, but to me as a mom, that's my own way of putting the checks in to be sure that he knows that somebody might see him and, But, Gozi, let's talk about well-being now. Let's talk about well-being. Even for, Olive says 18 and above, right? But to some extent, I think even as adults, decluttering our minds, mental well-being. Nkem talked about you watching, a particular influencer or a particular person to the point that you want to be like them. Now we've seen some trends of influencers having marriages breaking down, and these are role models that I particularly know, like a couple I followed, in Australia. I followed them for like a very long time. And after a while, I didn't see them. Then the next thing is that, they've gone their separate ways. And I was deeply, I felt really bad for them. But it is what it is. We don't have control over things like that. But let's talk about well-being, Gozi. How do we mitigate, how do we not compromise our well-being? When do we know when to stop? Because there's also the issue of algorithm. Ken mentioned that, and Olive mentioned that as well. Once they know that you love, algorithm senses that you love the content, because nowadays, even just talking here, I might be just talking about a shoe. The next thing you see on my feed is shoes. You talk about a bottle of water, the next thing you see. So how do we navigate our well-being so that we don't compromise this? I don't watch a couple or I don't watch a particular person and I start to feel bad about my life. To say, hey, like Nkem said, you're 42 and this is a young 30-year-old person who has done everything in life. They've achieved so much. And here I am sulking about just being able to buy... So how do we protect our mental health?
Oh,
Gozi?
wow. Yeah, do you know, I mean, there's so many different angles. Do you know, I mean, you ladies with your influencers, I don't follow these influencers. I'm very aware of, you know, their presence, their context and what they do. But there's no one or two or few that I'm locked into in that way. So,
lucky you, Gozi.
So, I mean, but that's a mindset in itself, isn't it? I mean, it's not to say that I don't have any role models, but on a digital platform, you know, we have to be mindful that firstly, these are edited, highly polished, airbrushed lives. They're trying to sell you a concept. So for your mental well-being, I suppose you need to be, make sure that, you know, you're someone that can be safe online, and that sounds easier to say than it actually is, because you don't know actually how unsafe something is until you're in it. For instance, like Olive,
there's something Olive said, you know, about waking up in the morning and you want to quickly update yourself. And you know, there's also that thing about scrolling. Yeah, you scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, and then there's a way it brings out everything that you want.
So I mean, and now there's a whole series of workshops and sessions for well-being against doom scrolling. You know, it is an actual thing. People recognise it as an actual negative impact if you're caught into that cycle. So we need to be mindful that is a pitfall. And when you got that message on WhatsApp to say, oh, the politician was it, I've been caught out by stuff like that before, because your mindset, your safety net can drop at any time, and first thing in the morning, it's a bit of relaxation. But we need to be aware that when you open that digital front door and you go into that space, that's a really big unregulated space. And so it's like, well, think about, for instance, I mean, how secure do you keep your home? You know, you wouldn't leave the house without unlocking the home. You wouldn't have people come into your house and have them wandering around you. You know, you have to have the mindset that's about, right, okay, well, this is our safe common space, and it has to be a safe space. And we need to share that across our networks. And social media is quite good for doing that, for being able to amplify those stay safe messages. But people can be vulnerable at any point. You know, all of us at any point, our guard can drop, but it's about being able to check that again. And that's the one thing that social media does do. It puts a responsibility on us as people ourselves, but also as mothers across the table, to be able to use the punitive element of taking your son's phone away. That's a punitive element, but it's also, you know, a sort of care and protection aspect as well. But I'd also caveat that by saying that when we were their age, we were doing things that were, you know, of that age group within the context of, well, we just had, I remember 25 years ago, we had phone cards that you could use in the public payphones, the BT phone card. And that was like a first thing, because you could use it at any payphone. So actually you didn't have to have a landline at home, and I couldn't have boys phone my house. My mum would have strangled me if like Raymond or Stephen had phoned my aunt. But I could speak to them if I wanted to on a phone. So kids have got... We need to be mindful that we are good parents and we're putting good values into our kids. So have that as a basis, as the balance. And then the check bit, if they are overstepping, we can use that as but keeping them back into the boundaries as a punitive way to show them, that we care for their safety.
Tough
So our
love.
well-being is like, yes, a personal responsibility, but tapping into our communities as well that are supporting us, like ACWA.
Yeah. So I'm very conscious of time now, but I want us to talk about the ugly side, which is the darker side of social media. And Kim, the question I'm going to be asking is, I know you mentioned something around trolling, but dealing with online abuse, harassment, cyberbullying. Is this on the rise as well? As much as we have influencers, is it almost normal to take to insult somebody and get away with it? Should it be made normal to say, oh, it's okay to speak to somebody in a way that you wouldn't consider speaking to the person if you were to be in physical, to be face to face with each other? Do you think social media has encouraged disrespect to some extent?
Well, I would say yes, because people don't really need so much guts to bully people online. However, they should be aware of digital footprints. So that's why digital literacy is very important. I say that to my children. Be very careful what you do on social media, even though they're not on social media, but I just informally just tell them and give them examples. Some persons have lost their jobs because of what they commented or posted so many years ago.
Yes.
So people should be aware, even though you think you can get away from it, especially now when it comes to politics, there are things people lose their guards on, and they can insult someone old enough to be their forefather, but because you can see me, there's nothing you can do to me, but people are watching, I encourage people, young people, you should, whatever you do, whatever you comment, whatever you like on social media, if they bring it to you after high school, if they bring it to you when you are a mom, when you are a dad, would you be happy to see that? You might just think, oh, it's youthful exuberance. Oh, I don't even know I said that when I did. But in as much as social media is beneficial to people, social media is a level ground for so many people, social media have digital footprints. If you are on, what is the X now, and someone says something controversial, you see them bringing up something as far back as 10 years ago, and you'll be wondering, who are these people digging up all these things? So this is something, and just as we are doing here, I'm thinking digital literacy is not enough. I mean, people are not educating people on digital literacy enough. If there are many people, because it's a responsibility, whether you like it or not, whether the different social media owners, they are making their money, they can only just give caveat, oh, don't post this and all that. But you see people still going far, bullying people. There are many people that have gone into depression because of what someone that cannot speak to them on a normal day has said to them. There are many relationships that are broken down because of comments, because of posts. There are many things, there are people that have, many things have gone wrong due to those things. And many people have gone into depression, even to the point of, wanting to end it all due to the dark side of social media. However, I will encourage that more digital literacy, especially young people. They should know the impact. They should know the impact of whatever they are doing. It might be cruise, according to the Gen Zs. It might just be vibes on vibes now, but it's something that can come back to haunt them, except you don't want to be somebody in life. Because the moment you want to achieve something, the moment you want to go for a position, the moment you want to, something that you've done or said or liked can come back to haunt you.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I agree totally. Olive.
Yeah.
Nkem mentioned something around social media platforms and how people jump on. They think it's a free meal and I can damn do everything I want to do. So that you coming on social media gives me the ticket to jump on and insult you any way I like. But the onus is also on the social media platforms, do you think they are doing enough to protect myself and you as a user, as a consumer as well? Do you think social media platforms, the owners especially, are doing enough to help, to just make sure that, because these are harmful.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, me just reading comments, I leave and I feel very, very bad.
Yeah.
So do you think social media platforms are helping to control the way that people take, vibes on vibes, they call it, abuse, they call it, but do you think they're doing enough to protect people?
They are not doing enough. That's just my own, simple answer. However, I think they are taking some measures, but it doesn't go far enough. Because for me, I believe that if someone is being bullied on social media, say for the first time, they should have some measures to mitigate that or to stop that. But it doesn't go that far, because I know people that I follow closely. I don't have like social media influencers, but there are people that I follow like on a regular basis, what they do, because I like what they are doing. But on the other side, I know people who are abusing them, trolling them, right? And it is very serious, and I've not seen anything done about it by the social media owners, although maybe they themselves can take some steps, maybe legal action, or maybe serve them with some legal or court or injunctions, but it shouldn't just be left to them. I think sometimes maybe, I don't know how the social media platform owners, how they think. Maybe they just think that, okay, if you put yourself out there, you are doing it at your own risk. But on the other hand, they benefit from people being on their platforms. So the onus is on them to also do as much as necessary to protect people, especially those that are being abused, those that are trolled, those that are bullied, because cyberbullying is a lot. And that is one of the reasons why, for me, I have not used social media for anything, because I don't think I can be able to take cyberbullying, and you cannot tell where it's going to come from, no matter how good enough you are doing. I know people who just go on social media to pray, right? Whether Christians or Muslims, and they have trolls and they are bullied. And people say terrible things about them and do terrible videos about them. And these things, it impacts them. Like, if somebody is praying, what can be better than that? But there are people out there who will just come for them, right? Like, it's a tsunami. And it is, social media is a very dangerous place. So you have to be careful how you engage with it. So for me, when I go on social media, I know exactly what I want. And I go straight to the people that I know I will benefit from, right? Like, there are particular conversations, discussions on things, and I listen. And sometimes I comment, but I do it responsibly because I'm old enough. That's why I'm saying that social media should only be for adults, because children might not know what they are doing there, right? But as an adult, at least you can think, but I know not every adult is as, we are all different people. But social media have a very ugly side. You can be bullied. You can be, even, it can come out of that space into actual real life. People have been attacked. You can be, trolled. People can say things to you that you find very difficult to get your mind out of. It can cause you mental health issues. So you have to be very, very careful whatever you put out on social media or the way you engage with social media. That's just one caution I have to throw out there. But if you are able to strike that balance overall, you will definitely benefit some things from engaging with social media platforms.
Beautiful. Gozi,
Yeah.
balancing, like striking a balance. And I'm going to harp on that now. There is one of the ugly sides of social media that I still struggle with is seeing individuals brandish weapons. People would brandish weapons. Somebody would take their own life. using going live on social media, and these are very disturbing images, if I can say that. And in a way, there is an issue of contagion, which is people see it's been done before. I can do it. Somebody's done it before. But there's also the issue of this serving as evidence for either investigation or either as a proof of something. There's also that balance of where do you put this material of somebody taking their own life or somebody doing something. There's a case of a Scottish boy who had met somebody on social media in Nigeria, and there was some cases of sextortion in it. At the end of the day, it ended up that, there was so much back and forth, but the boy ended up losing his life. So it was until the parents got into his social media, they realized this has happened. And unfortunately, what has happened.
Yeah.
But with the evidences, that's what the parents have used to trail to find out what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying Nigeria, but this is the case. We've seen it's different parts of the world, and we've seen what people can use social media for.
Yeah.
Do you think social media platform owners should be sitting around the table for proper regulations, and also the government? Because some government have rights over whether or not to have some platforms presented in their country. We can see in North Korea, for example, we can see some China and some other countries where you have access somewhat. Some have access, some do not have access at all. Do you think in some ways there needs to be strong regulation about this? Because some parents are not happy in terms of how the use of social media, and it's it's beyond them now.
Yeah. Having the social media platform owners sitting around the table, I would rather have a few of them standing in a dock, if I'm to be honest with you. Unfortunately, with social media, the kind of horse has bolted with regards to regulation, and that's a key part of the problem. The lack of regulation is an issue. It's not caught up. It's not been able to stay a step ahead of the growth of social media platforms, and that means that they have largely remained unregulated. But what we're seeing now, and in terms of that evidence and what Kim said about that digital footprint, that's absolutely there as a digital trail rather, of one aspect or another. Now, that sort of darker side that you touched on about people taking their lives, and also a lot of sort of suicide ideation that can come through some social media communities of interest, and also if you add on to that the likes of chatbots, that there's been a couple of high profile cases of young people being talked through and encouraged and ultimately committing suicide, which is hugely devastating. Now, with regards to that, what's happened is, because there is no regulation, because there's very little precedent, what's happening is that there are a number of cases where there's families, definitely in the UK and across the States as well, there are a number of families that are bringing specific lawsuits. And in America, because their federal government means that state by state can actually have slightly different laws with regards to, for instance, AI, it means that a couple of cases have actually been quite successful. And what that means is it's putting, to coin a phrase, it's putting the willies up the social media companies, because they're realising that, well, if this can happen there, then that is going to set a precedent for more lawsuits of retrospective things, sadly, of events, of tragic events that have already happened. So that's why I say that the horse is kind of bolted in that respect. For a number of families and communities, it's too late to have those loved ones back or that mental health restored. But the regulators, our governments need to be really quite bold. And I think that's where you're seeing, places like Australia being quite bold. Is it the right thing? Well, we don't know. It's new territory. But, it's driven from a sense of, of well-being, of a certain level of influence and a certain level of future-proofing, Different countries not using global platforms is problematic. If you look at China and Russia as well, what they've done in this digital water that we're swimming in is that they've somehow managed to create these barriers, which, personally speaking, I think is a step backwards. I was watching documentary on BBC.
No, but they have their own. They have their own that they've devised, and they use it within the country, and they're happy with that.
Who's happy?
No. When, no. Wait. I'm saying what they're happy. Like they've got something that is like a substitute to your Facebooks and to your Twitter. But who am I to say who's happy? But they use it, and it seems to suffice for what they want to use it for.
Actually, you'll find it's not. Especially, and I don't want to get into like the politics of those different countries and what have you, but what you find is that it creates a closed system that's highly censored, and also a real high population surveillance element. There's certain parts of China where there's just ID cameras all over the place. You can't walk around without face identification being taken, and that's the absolute norm. And from sitting in a first world democracy, that's actually something that we've got to be really mindful about. So we've got the good, the bad, and the ugly with social media in that respect. There are a number of aspects to be mindful of, but certainly regulation is something, it's now retrospective how we're looking at it, but it does need to be there.
All right, so I think we're almost coming to a close, but before we wrap up, right, I'd ask Nkem, if you could change one thing about social media, what would it be?
The inappropriate ads popping up.
I find that very boring as well. I'm like,
not just that, as a mom, your child might just be watching something.
Inappropriate, you said.
Inappropriate ads, and then an ad will just pop up, and it's not something before you even, some of these ads you won't see,
you can't skip ads.
You can skip it, and your child is seeing that and asking you questions, but that's one thing. It should be, and just as Olive said, there should be regulation when it comes to age as well, not just in terms of date of birth, because children of nowadays are very smart. They can just put their date of birth backwards just to gain access, but a strict means of identification and verification of age to ensure that those who are not meant to be using it are not using it.
Olive, you agree?
Yeah, certainly. I believe that social media should only be for adults. And of course, there should be some means of verifying so that people don't falsify their age, before they access a certain platform. And obviously, in as much as we talk about regulation as well, we have to be careful how we balance that with people's freedoms, because as Gonzi was saying, we live in a democratic society, we live in a free world, and people want to be certain that regulation does not cross the boundary of personal freedom. So because we should all have our freedoms, however, freedom comes with responsibility. So where people go beyond the boundary of being responsible, obviously they should be apprehended, or there must be some consequences for that. So as I said, it's all about striking a balance. And Gonzi also mentioned previously about cyber, education. I think that is something that maybe they should start that from the school age, or somehow inculcate that into the social life of people, because we all need the cyberspace for one thing or the other. You need the internet. And once you go on the internet, anything can come your way. You don't even need to have a Facebook account or an IG account or be on TikTok or wherever, but just using the internet, just for work or for anything at all, for research, things come up. You talk about the ads. They're always coming up. Sometimes I'm just so fed up, like, go away, but they don't go away. They will still come up.
Companies pay heavily for that.
So all these things have to be somehow managed and regulated, within the space. Like for countries where they have managed to create their own, I won't even comment on that, because those countries don't have the kind of social freedoms that we have in the West. Everything about them is managed on some level. So we are lucky to be living in a free world where we can make our own personal choices, but these choices have to come with responsibility. That's why I believe that social media should be for adults.
Gozi, in one sentence, is social media more good, bad, or ugly? In one sentence.
From morning, noon to night, it can be different proportions of each of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I agree.
Thank you so much to my beautiful, beautiful ladies, and thank you so much for your honesty, your insight, and your powerful contributions. It's been wonderful having you all come to the studios today. I want to say thank you for that. I've enjoyed listening to all of you. And to everyone listening, remember social media as a tool. How we use it and how we allow it affect us truly matters. So this has been wonderful. From the Women's Mic with ACWA, don't forget to share, to like, and to continue this conversation. Until next time, stay empowered, stay informed, and keep your voices heard. My name is Jamilah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.